another hybrid class. So we have a couple people in studio and then several of you joining us from home. Today's class, we're going to start just seated for a few moments. So just get comfortable. I need to adjust my music real quick, but just see if you can get your spine nice and tall. Maybe even close your eyes. We're going to head back to our back in just a moment, but I just want a little seated meditation to start with today. So take that spine, elevate it, lift the crown of your head up towards the sky. Start tapping into your breath, finding it, bringing it to the present moment, and making a little connection. Today's opening intention is about affirmations. These are kind of power phrases that we say to ourselves to give us guidance and light, positive self-talk. I am taking the next step for my healing. The moment I say positive affirmations, I step out of the victim role. I am no longer helpless. I acknowledge my own power. I am no longer helpless. I acknowledge my own power. Today, throughout this practice, I hope that you will acknowledge the power that you hold inside of you and how simply checking in with our physical body, our mind, spirit is a wonderful way to bring attention to that power, to let it feel fueled, nourished. So invite in another big, strong inhale, maybe seeing your belly grow as the inhale moves all the way down your spine. And then exhale, your belly button will start to fall towards your spine. Breath escapes back out. Once more, large growing tummy as our inhale expands the abdomen. Exhale, drawing that belly button in towards the spine. Drop your chin down towards your chest and take just a little bit of movement with the neck. Sweeping the chin maybe towards the right, towards the left. Maybe even doing a little half circle with the head, bringing the right ear up towards that right shoulder. And letting the chin drop down and sweeping it over towards the left shoulder. Being really easy with this movement in the body. The next time your head comes back to center, let's bring it tall over the spine, turning the tip of the nose to face off towards your right wall. And then just draw small circles with the tip of the nose on that right wall. Inhale, breath, bring the head back through center. Exhale, take it over to the left wall. Just as you did before, you're drawing small circles along that wall. Clockwise and then maybe counterclockwise, just giving a little bit of attention to the upper back, the shoulders, the neck. Bringing the head back to center. We'll take the hands and stretch them out to the sides of us, maybe touching on the floor or on the mat next to you. There. Inhale, reach the hands up tall. Exhale, let them drop down into your heart. Take two more just like that. Really just connecting with the breath, opening, expanding those arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhaling to let them gradually fall down to the chest. Take one more. Big inhale, reach the hands up. Big exhale, let it fall down. Perfect. Take your knees and start to stand them up towards the ceiling. We're going to plant our feet just straight out in front of you down your mat. Take your hands back by your hips And just do a slight heart opener here, lifting the chin. So it almost feels like, kind of reminds me of like the beach lounge. So you're resting, maybe feet in the sand, feeling the heat of the sun on your chest, maybe even letting your head fall back. Just a nice heart opener, a little bit of attention to the neck. Gradually bringing that head back up towards center, walk these hands in, and then you're just gonna head straight back your back onto the mat. So I'm gonna turn sideways just so that those at home can see me a little bit. And those of you in studio, hopefully this will still work for you too. We'll head back towards our backs and settle in. Maybe bring the knees all the way into the chest. See how that feels. Rock around right and left. And then we're gonna add length. So as you inhale, arms will go up overhead and stretch to the wall behind you. Legs will lift and point towards the ceiling. So now you kind of just look like a capital letter L. As you exhale, bend the knees, let the hands come down on either sides of the hips, pointing those fingertips straight down the mat. Inhale, letter L, arms reach, feet lift. Exhale, knees bend, hands on either sides of the hips. Just take your time, just a few more of those. Length. And bend the knees. One more, length. And bend the knees. Once you bend the knees, go ahead and hug them close. Rock a little bit side to side. And then you're going to keep your right knee hugged into your chest. Bring the hands to the right shin. Extend your left leg to the ceiling first. And then see if you can control that left leg with the heel, gradually lowering it down towards the mat. So it's really slow. Lots of pushing through that heel. Once it hits the mat, you're going to soften that left knee and just bring it back up the mat. Perfect. Switch sides. Opposite knee moves into the chest. Hug it in nice and tight, that left side. Elevate the right foot to the ceiling, point through the heel. And then be really slow and intentional with lowering this right leg down towards the floor. Of course, knowing you can bend the knee if you need to. Once it hits the mat, bend the knee and slide that foot back up. Both knees come into the chest now. Widen the knees a little bit, something kind of similar to a happy baby. You might even take your hands to the backs of the thighs and kind of push your heels upward and rock a little bit right and left. I'm holding on to the backs of my thighs because full happy baby reaching up for my toes is just, that's a really big pose. It might be too early on for that. Perfect. As you feel ready, bring those knees back into center. Drop the feet down to the floor just behind the glutes, hands on either sides of the hips. Take an inhale breath to lift the hips up off the ground, and you are in bridge pose. We have done a little bit of heart opening, so if you want to walk your shoulders slightly underneath, feel free, knowing that you've got good kind of muscle control and tension in the legs. Your back is not achy. If you've got any kind of tension in your low back, you're probably clenching your glutes a little too much. Don't want those glutes clenched. All right, use your inhale breath to lift your heels up off the ground and then just slowly drop the hips back towards the earth, maybe one vertebra at a time. Last thing to hit the mat will be those heels. Perfect. As you feel ready, rock the knees right and left, windshield wipering, and then we're going to get ourselves up to a seat. So you can either just roll to one side, push into the earth and come to a seat, or hug the knees to the chest and take a little rock and roll. Perfect. Once you find your seat, we're going to skip it because we already been there a little bit today. Take yourself to hands and knees. So when we find those hands and knees, put your wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, kind of walk around to wherever it feels best on your mat. It might feel good to kind of sway these hips side to side or immediately move into some cat-cow, whatever feels better in your spine. Go ahead and tap into that. And just keep breathing. Knowing how much power you hold in just some easy, slow breaths. Some easy, slow breaths. Next time you get to that angry cat spine, those of you playing with cat-cow, go ahead and sit your hips back onto your heels. Take a nice long stretch of the hands up to the front of the mat. Give it one more nice breath here. Focusing on your inhale and your exhale. Perfect. Inhale, bring yourself up to table. And then we're just going to kind of walk the bird dog. So bird dog is a balancing table. As you inhale, you're going to lift your left hand and your right foot. Let those stretch long. And then exhale, bring the hand and knee back to earth. Inhale, switch sides. So this is going to take a little bit of work with balance, a little bit of trying to remind yourself what your right and left is, and some concentration on your breath. So just continue to kind of walk this bird dog, this balancing table, switching sides whenever you feel comfortable doing so, and maybe add a little more length. So when you reach, really point through fingers and toes. Be intentional with that breath. All right, let's do one more on each leg. Perfect, back to that tabletop. Cat-cow here, belly drops down. Exhale, rounded spine. Go ahead and stick your right foot. I'm going to turn here just a little bit so I don't confuse those of us in studio. Stick your right foot straight back behind you, and then turn your right foot onto its inside edge. You're going to let your left foot kind of slide out from behind you, and then reach both hands up towards the ceiling. You're in a gate pose. So you've got right leg long, left leg back behind, and then you're going to take your right hand and start to reach towards that right leg. So it just kind of falls over to the side. If you want to take the left hand and add height and lean into it as a side body stretch, feel free. Give yourself one more nice round of breath here. And then this is going to flow just a little bit like we walked that bird dog. So you're going to take your left hand down. It's going to look for the earth. You're going to inhale, lift the right foot. Exhale, put that right foot back down. Inhale, lift the right foot. Exhale, put the right foot down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift your chest, your arms, everything back up into that gate. And then let the right hand fall to that back leg. Beautiful work. Go ahead, bring both hands back up to the ceiling. And now we're just going to kind of cartwheel forward towards the front of your mat. And you're going to look for downward facing dog. So I'm going to shift them sideways again. But downward facing dog, put both feet onto the mat. Hips lift nice and high. Good work. Walk that dog. First one of this morning's practice, so it might need a little chance to feel good in the body. Perfect. This time, we're going to drop the right knee into the ground. Stick your left foot straight back. Turn your left foot onto its inside. Right knee might kind of kickstand out. And then we're nice and tall in that same gate pose. Reaching hands tall, maybe letting left hand fall down towards this long leg. And then you might add a little more reach, taking that top hand back towards the wall behind you. Good, this looks excellent. Give yourself one more breath here, really focusing on opening up that side body. Perfect. Start to cartwheel this hand that's in the sky down towards the earth. Plant it near the face. Inhale, lift the foot, flex the toes. Exhale, place it back down. So it just kind of lifts and lowers there if you feel like you can. If that's too much, you can just stay in the side angle or you can lift it and pause. Perfect. Next time that foot's down on the ground, use your inhale to lift both hands back up. Take it back to that same gate pose. And then you'll turn towards the front of your mat just as you did before, looking for your downward facing dog. Lift those hips up nice and tall. Walk it out. Lots of side body work there. Excellent job. When you feel ready, take your time. Start walking your feet forward towards your hands. You're going to be in a forward fold. The crown of your head is aimed down towards the earth. Those that brought blocks or have blocks at home, feel free to use those. Otherwise, hands are just kind of hanging in space. We'll come up halfway and really flatten out that back. Exhale, fold. Big inhale, reach the hands as high as they can go, all the way up to the sky. Exhale, open for cactus. And bring the hands into the heart. Another half sun salutation, inhaling for length. Exhaling to fold. Half lifting, long spine, flat back. Exhale, fold. Plant the feet, big inhale, hands reach up. Cactus on your exhale. Elbows come back into the face, hands at heart. One more breath, one more round. Inhale up. Exhale down. Half lift, really open up those hamstrings, flat back, exhale, fold. Plant the feet, big inhale, hands reach up. Exhale the cactus and stay here. Pull the elbows straight in front of your face so you've got two 90-degree angles. This is your inhale breath. As you exhale, you'll bend your knees and let your hands sweep back near the hips, just into a little chair. So you'll inhale, straighten, arms come up. And you'll exhale, sit back. Good. Just keep moving with that pace of breath. A little bit of movement there. Seeing if we can keep a little bit of control in those shoulders. Lots of stress on those quads as we sink in that chair. Last one. So come up tall. This time as you bend the knees, pause here. Keep the hands shooting back behind you. And then use your exhale to fold towards your toes. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Right foot steps back towards the back of the mat. Drop that right knee down into the ground. And you're just in a little low lunge here. Put the knee on the earth. Hands come up and look for the ceiling. Relax those shoulders, turn your pinkies in. And then you're going to come down to that same 90 that you were playing with in your chair pose. But the knee that matches this elbow, so that front knee, that one stays put. Other one wraps underneath as we create those eagle arms. You've got that kind of crisscross happening there. You can stay right here, or if you're looking for a little more, you can take your arms up with your gaze. That's going to advance the pose quite a bit if you're looking for something a little deeper. Perfect. Take your time, unleash those arms, let them go wide, and then they're going to hang out by your hips just like you did in that chair pose. Let them reach behind you. Open the heart. Inhale, breath, hands sweep up. Exhale, breath, let the hands go down on either sides of this front leg. Flex the toes back towards your face. Perfect. Taking your time, flattening that foot back out. Hands go to earth. Step the front foot all the way to the back of the mat. Downward facing dog or child's pose, if that's more your style today. Really walk out that spine. Right foot lifts high to the sky, three-legged dog. Right foot comes down to the earth. Left foot lifts high to the sky, three-legged dog. Left foot comes down to the earth. Small steps with the feet. Take your time. Let them move up towards your hands. And then half lifts only when you're ready. You can take your time, folding back into the earth, and then standing up when the inhale feels natural. Arms go to cactus on the exhale. In front of your face, pause there with those 90 degrees. Exhale your invisible chair. Inhale, stand it back up. Exhale your same invisible chair. Inhale, stand it up. Exhale, invisible chair, and pause. Stay there. Fold towards the floor. Half lift. Take it down. Left foot steps back this time. Left knee looks for the earth. You're in that same low lunge. Hands coming up only when you feel ready, turning those pinkies in, letting the shoulders drop in the sockets where they belong. Inhale, strong. Exhale, cactus. Bring the elbows in front of your face. Keep this arm that matches that front knee at 90. Other arm is what gets to go underneath to create your eagle arms. You might be stopping in kind of a crisscross or bringing backs to backs or hands to hands. You'll notice I'm really working hard to keep my shoulders back in the sockets where they belong. Maybe my gaze even goes upward if your practice allows. Beautiful. Big exhale when you're ready. Arms sweep back and they pause back by your hips, just like we were doing in our chair. Inhale, breath, arms go up. Exhale, breath, let them find the floor as you shift weight. Toes come back towards your face. Transitioning this front foot to find the earth. And then you'll step it back. Big step, maybe all the way to the back of the mat, looking for that down dog if that fits in your body today. Or drop to your knees and take child's pose. And where hips are pushed hard back towards that wall behind you. You got lots of length happening for your spine. Perfect. As you feel ready, we'll take our time. The knees are going to drop down towards the ground. Put yourself in a little half push-up. And your next little flowing bit of movement is going to be right here. You're going to go half push-up, hips to heels. Then you'll go half push-up, hips to heels. So some exhale and inhale, kind of working its way through that. For me, the inhale makes most sense when I come to the half push-up. The exhale makes most sense when I sit back onto my heels. This is all about length. If you're not feeling longer, taller, more expanded and open by the time we're done today, that might be on me, I guess. But the goal is to try to add as much length to your spine today as we can. So give yourself one more of these. Sit those hips back onto the heels. And then to change it up, we're going to drop our elbows into the earth. Hands come to kind of clap one another like prayer. And then let those tap and hide behind the back of your head. Now, the further you walk your elbows up the mat, away from your knees, the more you're going to feel this in your triceps. Trapezius muscles across the upper back, through those shoulders. Give yourself one more nice breath here. Looking great. Hands moving back down towards the earth. Come back up to that half plank for me again. And this time as you exhale, go ahead and let the chest find its way all the way to the ground. You're going to find 3 cobras. So hands on either sides of the armpits. Cobra is all about the lower body, really feeling connected to the earth. So there's not a lot of weight in your hands. You're inhaling, really gluing the pelvis into the mat. Using the breath to help you lift. Elbows stay close. Beautiful. Once you finish that third round of Cobra, go ahead and walk the hands back. One big hand step. They're even with about the breastbone, or about where the lower part of a sports bra hits. Curl the toes under. Keep the elbows close. Push up to full plank or half plank, your choice. And then let the hips follow suit. They're going to the sky, downward facing dog. Walk that out. Now to change things up, instead of going feet to hands, this time walk your hands to your feet. Once you get in that forward fold, a half lift is necessary to get the breath back in. Exhale, fold. Plant the feet, inhale, reach up, look up. This time instead of cactus, try the letter Y. Just open your arms wide. Big sighing. Exhale, hands come back together, and then just settle into our heart. All right, when you feel ready, you're at the back of your mat. You're gonna take your right foot and step it straight forward. I'm gonna turn a little bit here so I can see everybody in the room better. So your right foot steps forward, you bend this right knee, your left toes turn out, and you're looking like warrior one. You got it, arms are up. Maybe the pinkies turn in, maybe the shoulders soften. And just like we've been doing with that chair, you're gonna inhale, find length. Exhale, comes to 290s. Inhale, find length. Exhale, comes to 290s. Now stay right here. Inhale here. Exhale, shoot the hands back. Let the chest go forward. Inhale, bring the chest back up. Look for those 290-degree angles. And then exhale, keep that discipline and watching that front knee, chest coming back up. What I mean by watching that front knee is we don't want it to splay out to the right or to the left. We don't want it to lose its bend. We want it to keep its strength. Next time those hands are back, pause them there. You can lace them for those of you who are looking for something a little more opening for the shoulders, or you can just let those hands have fire and shoot back behind you. Inhale, breath, bring this up. And then exhale, just give yourself one warrior two. So you're gonna kind of turn so that that back foot turns to its side, arms reach wide. So you got the same knee that was bent is still gonna be bent. Just the foot that was slightly turned is now completely to the side. Perfect. Take the hand that's straight up the front of your mat, flip it, reverse it, lean away from me first. Back to warrior two and then side angle. Just one of these. Back to warrior two. Good. We're gonna take the hands in a big sweep, start to see if we can turn on those back toes. And then if you feel good, hands can go down to the earth. Step this foot back. You can go to child's pose or downward facing dog. My multiple mats didn't like that series. They're all messed up now. All right, big downward facing dog. All right, walk the hands back to your feet, just like you did before. Small steps with those hands backwards. Half lifting to make sure that breath is still involved. Fold to the earth. Inhale, reach up, look up, open with the letter Y, just as you did before. Maybe a big sighing exhale. And bring those hands in and let them settle to your heart. We're gonna step forward this time with the left foot. Left knee bends, right toes turn out. This is just a slight turn out of that back foot. My hips are as much as possible trying to be angled straight up my mat. Arms go up, maybe even adding some length. Inhale, tall. Exhale, your 90 degrees. Just one more like that. Pause here. This is your inhale breath. Exhale, chest moves forward, hands shoot back. Inhale up. Take it back. So you're following your own pace of breath. You might be a little faster than me, or you might be a little slower. That's all right too. And you can control how much stretch that back hip flexor gets by the tilt of your pelvis when you stand up. So if your pelvis takes a big tilt when you stand, you're going to feel a big stretch in that hip flexor. All right, next time you bow, next time your chest is forward, keep those hands back. Some of you laced last time and let the arms come up over top. Others of you just kind of let the fire shoot out through those hands. An inhale breath brings us back up steady and strong. And then we just start to add a little bit of rotation on this back heel so it turns to the side. Now my stance is a little wonky, so I usually end up walking this bent knee so that my heel is in line with that big toe, and I look for warrior two. So again, yep, your arms are out in T, gazing over that front hand. Flip your front hand, lean away from me first. Back to warrior two. And then just one side angle here, taking whatever version feels best to you today. Perfect, back to warrior two. This is where we had to work on balance just a little bit, kind of sweeping these feet so they're both facing forward. Hands look for the ground. Foot steps back, child's pose, downward dog, full vinyasa. If that's more your style today, if you want more movement, you can certainly have that. Perfect. And then just as we've done the 2 times before, we're gonna walk the hands back to our feet again, encouraging a little bit more muscle strength in the arms and the shoulders. Head is hanging down. Separate your feet about as wide as the mat. And then just give yourself a little rock side to side. Maybe even ragdoll pose feels appropriate. Left hand to right elbow, right hand to left. Maybe some big sways. Now, of course, if you got any kind of dizziness or lightheadedness here, you'll bring your head up a little higher. So hold on to your knees and not drop your head quite as low down towards the mat. All right, time for a little balance. When you feel ready, we'll bring ourselves up halfway or all the way. Obviously using an inhale when you get yourself to standing. Whatever method seems best for you. Come back up to standing posture. Maybe bring the feet back underneath. I'm going to turn my palms so that they face forward. Lift my shoulders and then drop them down my spine. Crown of the head might lift slightly, maybe even lifting the chin, really planting through the soles of your feet. Light opener through the heart. Another round of breath. All right, take your time, let the hands come up and grace each other at your heart, palm to palm. Standing on that right foot, we'll take left toes over in kind of a crisscross shape right there at your ankles. And we're gonna take a little variation on tree today. This one's gonna have a little more of a heart opener. Excuse me, not a heart opener, hip opener. So with those toes grounded into the earth, you can stay right here. This can be your tree today. Or you can lift that foot up a little higher, keeping that foot flexed. This might be your tree today. Or the same leg that you're standing on, that arm can drop and you can reach for this foot to bring it up and hold on to it across the body. So any variation between the tap on the floor, slightly lifted with flexed foot, or a grasp with the hand. Other hand can rest at your heart, or you can lift up over the head. Perfect. Take your time, whatever variation you've been in, start lowering that foot back to the ground. Separate the feet. We're actually, most of you are facing forward, so we're going to separate our feet. And then I want you to just turn and take a big step on your mat. It doesn't matter which wall you face. Just make yourself really wide. Yeah, there we go. So you can turn to the side or you can be just as wide as your mat. Take a soft bend in your knees and fold yourself down towards the earth. A big wide fold, maybe even bending the knees and rocking a little bit right and left. That might feel nice. Obviously paying attention to the fact that if your knees turn out, so should your toes, and vice versa. Just kind of work through anything that's hiding in those hips or that was brought to full attention in trying that new balance shape. All right, taking time, I'm going to walk my feet kind of gradually back closer to one another underneath of me. If that feels like it makes sense for you, take time to do that. Maybe a half lift works. Others really like to roll up one vertebra at a time. Sometimes that bothers my back. So you decide whether you want to roll up or you want a half lift. Get yourself back up to a strong standing posture, maybe bringing those hands back down to the sides like we had before, turning the palms to face forward. Big breath. Now you can stay facing the same direction, or you can turn yourself so that you're back on your mat like we were before. This time we're going to shift, opposite leg becomes your standing leg. So put that left leg into the earth, right toes reach across. Just kind of give yourself time to make sure you're flat right across the pelvis first, that your alignment looks good with your spine, and then you might flex foot and lift it. Or remember, same hand as standing leg might reach down and kind of grab right at the ankle. Ooh, sorry, for some of us, that works. For others of you, you may not like that shape, but just watch this knee. We either want it below the knee or right above the knee, or even toes still down here on the earth. Making sure that we don't get into any kind of sway back there. It's really easy to want to stick the tail out behind you. So if you need to adjust, feel free to do so. Hands might rest at the heart or out to the sides, wherever you feel best. And then just like always, find the power in your breath. Find the stability in your gaze. Finding something to focus on that's not moving. One more nice full breath here. All right, start dropping that foot back down towards the earth. We're going to step wide again. So if you're facing just straight forward, maybe challenge yourself to turn completely sideways on your mat. Make a big 5-pointed star. It might feel good to just kind of tip back and forth, little teapot style. It might feel good to go ahead and bend into a large rag doll, or maybe reach down for those toes, maybe fish hooking big toes, or some like to grab around the backs of the calves and really let their head hang in between. You guys, there's lots of freedom in this shape, especially if it feels too big. You can always walk back up, put your hands on your thighs, keep something a little taller here if folding down just feels too much today. We know that our yoga is never one size fits all, so if something doesn't sit with us very well, you can always adjust. All right, take your time to walk your feet just outside the hips. So we want them closer than they were, but not completely underneath the hips. Take some bends in the knees, turn the toes slightly out, bring the chest up on an inhale, and you're looking for goddess. So the knees have some bends outward, the arms maybe are in kind of a cactus shape if that feels good. Your inhale breath is right here at center, and then your exhale breath, just turn your chest to the right. Inhale breath to center, exhale breath, just a slight turn to the left. So this isn't a full twist, of course, but just some gentle wringing out, a little more work for your legs before we settle out. It might match your breath, or you might be twisting a little faster than your breath. That's okay too. All right, bring those hands back to a stationary point when you feel balanced. Drop them down towards your thighs. Stand up strong through your heels. And then just start to heel toe the feet back underneath. All right, we're going to close out our standing at the front of the mat with one more half sun salutation. Actually, let's do a full sun salutation. Get some front body. So inhale, reach the hands up nice and tall. Exhale, let's hinge and fold down towards the mat. Half lift with that same long spine we have found so many times before. Exhale, hands to the earth. 1 foot at a time, bring these feet back to the back of the mat. Now this might be a time where full plank makes sense, or maybe it doesn't, and we put these knees down on the ground. Exhale to lower, knowing your knees can find the earth anytime your back starts to give that sway. 1 up dog or cobra. I'm going to choose up dog. I'm walking my hands back, even with my shoulders. And then from here, you can curl your toes under to lift hips. To down dog, you can drop knees to the earth and drop into child's pose. Let the breath find the space that it needs. It looks like we're in a little bit of everything right now. So just take one more breath, whether you're in down dog or child. Beautiful. Next, natural exhale. Bring the knees to the ground if they aren't already there. Come up towards the tabletop. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Put the right hand directly underneath your face. Use your inhale breath to reach your left hand tall. Exhale it to the mat. Switch sides. Opposite hand down, opposite hand lift. And then bring it down. 1 cat-cow, belly drops to the earth, wrists under those shoulders. Round out your spine on your exhale. Perfect. Take yourself to table. Take a little peek over your right shoulder, looking back towards those right toes. C curve, stretch to the spine, head comes back to center. Little peek over the other shoulder, look back towards your toes. Another round of C for the spine. And then back to center. All right, transitioning yourself to your seat. That might make sense to kind of walk your knees forward, crisscross the ankles, and just kind of fall over the lap. Or walk the legs around side, whatever. You're going to get yourself, I'm going to turn just so that those of you in studio can see me better. But you just want mat out in front of you, legs nice and long. Sit nice and tall, hands on either sides of the hips. Press into the ground with those hands, staff pose. So staff pose is about arms. You just got a little bit of lift of the glutes up off the ground. Maybe they leave the earth. Maybe it's just like the weight of your glutes is not on the ground anymore. But your triceps feel really engaged. Biceps are even active. Beautiful. Soften that. Let the arms relax. You're going to walk the soles of your feet in towards your body. If this feels okay in your hips, you can be tight. You can walk these feet in really close to the pelvis. If that feels a little discomforting, you can always walk the feet further out and take more of a diamond shape, it's going to be up to you. See if you can lift through the crown of your head, sit your spine nice and tall. Think about the creases of your hips, so right where your top and your bottom meet, and see if you can fold right at that spot, bringing your chest slightly towards your toes. Knowing that you can always walk these feet out a little bit if as you start to fold, that feels like it doesn't work for you. Good rounds of breath here, making sure that we continue to breathe. Steadying the mind by giving it something to focus on. Allow it to focus just on the simple act of breathing. You have the power to stay in the positivity of this moment. Let your mind stay there with you. Bringing those knees back up to center, our chest comes back up. We help those knees to the middle. And then we're just going to start to head back to our backs. I'm going to turn sideways just so everybody can see me a little better. If you have a block at home, you can reach for that. If you brought a block with you to studio today, you can use it if you want, but you don't have to. We're just going to head back to our backs, hug our knees into the chest, rock a little bit right and left. And then when you feel ready, it might feel nice to elevate the feet up to the sky. Now, if you don't have a block that you can put under your back, I'm going to give you a little tip today, something that kind of feels nice. So re-bring your feet back down to the earth before you lift them up. Lift your hips up just slightly and kind of walk your hands to about where you would have put that block. My hands are facing down on the mat, and they don't go quite as high up underneath my hips as they would if I had a block. But my palms are facing down. The thumbs are kind of towards the middle of where my sacrum is, the top of the bum. And then as I inhale to lift my feet, it's almost like I've created a little cradle for my body to rest in, using my arms, using my hands. When it's in the right spot, it doesn't bother your shoulders. When it's in the right spot, it feels like you've got a little bit of help to hold these legs up in the air. So of course, if this doesn't work for you to walk your hands underneath, you don't have to do that. Your legs can lift to the sky if you want to and take a little waterfall pose, or you can just use this as a supported bridge, keeping the feet down on the earth. Whatever you choose for the next few rounds of breath. Your legs have been lifted. We'll slowly start to work those back down to earth one at a time. If you've had your hands underneath of you or a block, feel free to start to lift hips and bring those two things out from underneath. And then we need just a little twisting today. If that seems like it might make sense to you, hug your left knee into the body, left knee in. Maybe your right leg goes long down the mat, or you can keep it as a kickstand. As we hug this left knee in, we'll start to invite it slowly over to the right, kind of taking your right hand to the outer edge of that left knee, helping it over and across the body, maybe reaching left arm out to the side in somewhat of a T. You can turn your gaze or where you're paying attention to the bent knee, or you can turn your gaze to the ceiling, or you can turn your gaze in the complete opposite direction of that knee. Staying within that twist, give yourself one more breath here. repositioning if you need to. Perfect. Take your time, start to bring things back to center, and then we'll switch sides. Opposite knee moving itself in towards the chest, pointing and flexing the toes if you need, and then just invite it on over to the other side. The same spinal twist that you took before, we're now on the opposite side. Right arm might stretch out to T, gaze to the ceiling, away from the knee, or in the same direction as that knee. One more steady breath here. And then we'll just start to bring everything back to center. Taking your time. From here, we get a little bit of stretched out legs. Maybe you take yourself immediately into your shape you're going to choose for Savasana. Where others may still feel like they need a movement or two just to let things settle. If that's the case, feel free. You can continue to move around a little bit if you need to. Traditional Savasana often looks like heels planted onto the mat, toes rolling towards the outer edges. Gaze is up to the ceiling. Maybe the eyes even close as we soften all the muscles of the face, allowing the tongue to come to a relaxed state within the mouth, the shoulders to come out from underneath of us, the hands to open, palms facing towards the sky. Savasana is your ending pose, the time where you allow your body to feel heavy, weighted, as it melts its way down into earth. Give your mind the opportunity to sift and settle. No more worries about the perfect pose or whether you're doing things right. This is just the time for you to let it all settle back into place. Staying nice and calm and relaxed in this shape, knowing that the sound of my voice will bring you back when it's time. So feel free to just stay right there, continuing to capture that inhale breath and release your exhale breath. Slowly starting to become aware of your breath. Allowing for gentle movements to come into the body. Maybe something as simple as wiggling the toes or opening and closing the hands, wiggling the fingers, rolling the wrists. Maybe bending the knees and letting them come a little closer to the body, hugging them in tight if that makes you feel supported, or maybe just keeping it loose in a windshield wiper motion. You may even roll all the way to your right, using your arm as a pillow, resting on that right-hand side, supporting the body and lifting the heart. And then when you feel ready, you can press into the earth. Start to return yourself back up to a seat, palm to palm, nice tall spine, couple more refreshing breaths as we close out with today's final reading. Today's reading goes right along with our opening intention, which, if you recall, was the moment I say positive affirmations, I step out of the victim role. I am no longer helpless, and I acknowledge my own power. Do you carry an ever-present monologue? You carry on an ever-present monologue with yourself that is critical. So many of us do. We relive how we flubbed up, beating ourselves up, being into the ground with a litany of real and imagined sins and shortcomings. In order to quiet our inner critic, we need to personify it, protect ourselves from it, and then replace it. No matter who the voice belongs to in your past, it is ours now, and we can change it. I deserve to be spoken to in encouraging ways. I have the power to change my critical inner voice to a loving and supportive one. I greatly appreciate you taking this time for yourself, mind, body, and spirit to move with us. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.